I'm Yana, isa akong international student here in Canada. Now, what will I actually share in this video is the expenses, the documents, and the timeline of my whole process. Quick disclaimer, I am not a immigration officer, I am not an immigration agent, rather I will share to you my personal experiences of a DIY process wherein wala talagang tumulong sa akin. Ako lang lahat. Let me discuss to you the 6 steps to become an international student here in Canada. Before that, you need to be aware of your goals. Bakit ka ba talaga pupunta sa Canada as an international student? Kasi it will affect those 6 steps. Number 1 is, gusto mo ba maging permanent resident? If not, temporary lang ba? I've met people kasi during my journey here na hindi lang permanent residency talaga ang habol. Rather, ang gusto rin lang nila is mag-aral lang talaga sa Canada then balik agad after. There's actually nothing wrong with that. However, it will affect yung process natin throughout this video. Do not worry, for the convenience of everyone, may time-lapse akong ilalagay in this video so that you can skip ahead if okay ka na. But this is just a guide from beginning to finish. Before you start your application, you need to collect the basic documents first. Number 1 is yung passport mo, birth certificate mo, NBI clearance, police clearance, TOR or transcript of record, diploma, and banking certificate. Yung ginastosan ko lang talaga dito is my banking certificate, NBI clearance, and police clearance kasi yung mga ibang kinuha ko, gamit ko na sila previously before, in-scan ko lang sila lahat to keep a soft copy and hard copy. Yung ginastos ko sa NBI ko is 150 pesos, sa police clearance ko 100 pesos, and sa bank certificate ko is around 100 pesos. So, natapos mo na i-define yung goal mo sa pagpunta ng Canada and na-collect mo na yung mga basic documents. You can now proceed to step 1. You need to select a school or province. Isa lang naman ang need mong tandaan dito. If gusto mo maging permanent resident, rine-require lang ng IRCC na dapat yung school na attendan mo is a DLI or a Designated Learning Institution so that after you study, o-offeran ka ng PGWP. PGWP means Postgraduate Work Permit. Gamitin mo yung mga papers na yun for your permanent residency. Now, what if you don't want to be a permanent resident here in Canada, rather, enter ka lang as a student. That's it. Then balik ka. Yung hindi naman necessary actually na isang designated learning institution ang pasukan mo. Any school will do. Kung yun yung gusto mo, be it. Ngayon, mga next for sure na tanong sa akin is, saan mo malalaman if that specific school is part of a designated learning institution? I will place a link in the description that you can follow. At the same time, another link how to use it. Ang naman ang rin-require ng IRCC for those who want permanent residency is to ensure that yung school na enteran mo is a designated learning institution, then nag-offer siya ng PGWP. However, yung next sasabihin ko dito is for budgetarians like me. Kasi not everyone has millions na saving wherein hindi mo kailangang i-consider yung mga next sasabihin ko in selecting your school or province. If hindi mo problem ang budget mo, you can skip to step 2. Pero if problem mo yung budget mo, stay tuned. In selecting your school, you need to consider your program's duration. Duration meaning gano'ng katagal mag-aaral. If you want permanent residency, minimum of 2 years. If not 2 years, 1 year plus 1 year. The reason for this is that yung PGWP. Ngayon, yung PGWP kasi na pinoprovide nila sa isang 2-year program is 3 years. Ngayon, sa mga 1-year program, may nag-succeed naman. I'm not saying na yun lang. However, 1 year lang yung PGWP nila. Parang ganun. So, mas less yung work experience na nakukuha nila after graduation compared sa isang 2 years. Ngayon, you won't expect me to sell stock that. Bahala ka na sa mga plans mo pagpasok ng Canada kasi iba-iba tayo ng goal. However, for PRs, yung gusto mag-PR like me, push kayo for 2 years. Kung ayaw nyo, bahala ka. Next consideration in selecting a school and program is that Yung school ba nag-offer ng any program that is related to your educational background in the Philippines? If not, you can always go back to your work experience. Yun yung ginagawa ng iba wherein hindi related sa educational background nila yung kinuha nilang program dito sa Canada, pero relate nila sa work experience nila and nakapasok naman sila sa school. Next consideration, tuition fee and other expenses. Kasi there are some programs here in Canada that will require you more money than others, of course. Saan mo makikita yan? Sa mga school websites kasi nakalagay naman dun yung rene-require nila per international student per program. So, you need to diligently read kung ano ba talaga yung papasukin mo so that you can choose wisely. I've heard stories kasi na may specific requirements yung program. Let's say, yung program na yun is require ng IELTS, pero yung program ko naman do not require IELTS. So, nasa sayo na kung ano yung diskarte mo. Siyempre, I don't know yung background or yung experience mo. What if sa lahat ng options mo na yun, lahat may IELTS? Oh well, go na lang. Pero yun nga, at least you have the option. You have the knowledge na, may option ka na at some point you don't need IELTS. Then lastly, consider when is your intake. The reason for this is that practically, in-advisean ako na yung best na pagpasok as international student in terms of yung weather is spring, summer, or fall. So, incoming ako as a fall student. The reason for this is money. Let's say kasi, pag spring and summer, yung damit mo sa Philippines, you can carry it here. Tas at least, you are not required to buy winter clothes just yet, wherein ang rami mong ginastos sa pagpunta dito sa Canada. At least doon may sarili ka ng by that time na dumating ang winter, may sarili ka ng pera to buy the winter clothes that you need. So, may time ka pa mag-ipon. However, pag winter intake ka na talaga, you need to buy everything. Ultimo damit. You need to take heat pads, parang mga ganun. Thick coats and thick boots. Kasi, in reality here, iba yung lamig dito, nakakamatay, nagkakasakit. So, marami akong kakilala na pumasok within winter intake na nagkasakit talaga sila. Kasi yung damit na dala nila is not equipped for winter. They need na i-prioritize bumili nun kasi life and death situation naman na nagkakasakit na sila dahil they don't have the correct clothes, parang ganun, to battle yung harsh winters dito sa Canada. Again, this is just a suggestion if ayaw mo go. However, what if yung perfect time mo talaga na accept ka sa Canada is winter, then at least you know what to expect. You know what to happen. Pero kung may options ka, go for spring, summer, and fall. Ngayon, any province will do. Honestly, any province will do. Wala namang rene-require specifically si IRCC. However, you need to be careful if you are a budgetarian like me. Kasi ako talaga, as much as possible, gusto ko makatipid. So, isang reason kung bakit mas konti ang show money ko, talaga, yung re-require sa akin, konti lang talaga yung show money ko is na prove yung visa ko dito sa Canada is because I have family and friends here. So, I'm not saying any discount, rather, there's someone na provide sa akin ng sponsorship. Sponsorship talaga yung provide nila sa akin wherein they ensure me na hindi ko need ng mas malaking pera na show money kasi may relatives ako dito that who can cover for me. Next, in selecting a province, not only yung family members and friends mo is dapat nandun sa area na yun, you need consider tax. Kasi nakatira ako sa Ontario, sadly. Kung may better options ako, I would go for lesser taxes like let's say Alberta. Kasi 5% lang yung tax dun, dito is 15%. So, ang laking problem nun kasi I haven't confirmed yet if open na talaga ang pag-work na hindi na lang 20 hours. Kasi hindi pa naman ako nag-start ng work. Sa September pa ako mag-start ng work. So, hypothetically, you only are allowed to work 20 hours a week. Tapos, yung minimum wage is around 14 to 19 CAD. Depende kung ano yung work mo. Dahil sa laki ng tax, mas kaunting savings mo, and that's really sad. Kung naka-move on ka na sa pag-select ng school and province that suits you, you can move on to step 2. You need to secure your letter of acceptance. Ano yun? Kailangan mo kasi talaga ma-accept sa school. In the end of the day, kahit anong chika natin, kung wala kang letter of acceptance, lahat ng process mo cannot proceed. So, first thing you need to do, mag-enroll ka sa school. Make a separate video on how to enroll sa school kasi online siya. I will put the link on the description for step 2 so that pwede nyo siyang mahanap. Ngayon, the moment na maka-enroll ka, you need to fill up a form. At the same time, mag-prepare ka ng 100 Canadian dollars or so that time around 4,000 pesos. Yung 4,000 pesos mo, they would assess kung bibigyan ka nila ng letter of acceptance. So, nakadepende ito sa educational background mo or work experience mo. Parang yun, ito yung pupunta yung unang problem na na-encounter ko sa pag-apply is ang hirap mag-send ng payment sa Flywire. However, na-refer ako sa isang friend ko sa Dagupan. Pumunta ka ng PNB Perez, Sir Oliver, if nakikita mo to, this is because of you. Shameless plug, Sir Oliver. Kasi honestly, kung wala talaga si Sir Oliver na nag-process ng payments ko from Philippines to Canada safely, is hindi ako makakarating dito. Shoutout sa'yo, Sir Oliver. Anyway, PNB baka naman. Yung sinasuggest kong bank for this is PNB kasi may dollars silang readily available for any transactions online. You just need to pay the fee. Within one day lang talaga na process na nagpadala sila ng 100 CAD doon sa school, then binayaran nila yung fees ko. After that, nag-submit ako ng transcript of record ko kasi ang ginamit kong basis for yung pagkuha ko ng program sa kanila is my educational background, yung transcript of record ko and diploma. That's it. Plus pala yung form na ano yung program ko, yung duration, etc. etc. All the details about the form na gusto kong i-enroll. Then, after 2 days, nag-reply sila, congrats, sabi sa akin. Hindi na ako talaga na-excite. Congrats, you are accepted. Parang, yun, na-accept ako agad sa school, nakuha ko yung letter of acceptance. With that letter of acceptance, nabigyan ako ng checklist, specific checklist that I need to accomplish. Kasi iba-iba ang checklist per estudyante. Around the world, iba-iba ang rules. Rule na nag-apply sa akin kasi nag-apply ako DIY talaga. Wala akong agency or legal representative, third party na connect. So, very simple lang. Very simple lang talaga yung pinagawa sa akin without the checklist kasi nag-skip ako nang di nag-apply sa akin. Yung clinic, yung chinek ko that time is regular stream. Hindi ako nag-apply for student direct stream. DIY din siya, however, mas mabilis yung processing sa akin. However, babayad ka ng extra for the convenience na mas mabilis. That time, hindi talaga ako naghahabol. Huwag kang maghahabol. Char. Ako naghabol kasi nag-apply ako way back January. Yung intake ko is September. So, what kung madili lang naman ng ilang araw kung hindi ako nag-student direct stream? Kasi may extra gastos yun. Maraming school na nagde-defer ng estudyante nila kasi hindi sila nag-comply sa conditions ng letter of acceptance niya. Nasabi sa letter of acceptance ko na I am accepted. Nag-preserve sila ng slot sa akin kasi limited lang per year ang inopen nila for international student. So, yung condition nun is I need to pay yung initial deposit for my education. Initial deposit lang naman na yung pinaka-minimum so that ma-preserve ko yung slot na yon so that di ako ma-defer or hindi mag-expire yung letter of acceptance ko, parang ganun. So, that time, yung binayaran ko is around 2,000, let me check, 2,350 Canadian dollars or in peso that time is around 101,600 pesos. And yun yung pinaka-expensive na gastos ko sa tanang ng buhay ko. Pero yun, ay parang expected ko na rin yun, like to any international student, expected na yun kasi mahal ang palitan ng peso to CAD. And kuha ko ng letter of acceptance ko, I did not waste any time. Dumiretso ako agad at gumawa ng sarili kong GCKey account. Ang kailangan mo lang is email, isang legit na email, then i-fill up mo yung details mo. May mga security questions na dapat ikaw lang din, of course, yung nakakaalam. Then after that, may GCKey account ka na. Complete mo yung checklist, that's another document. Then, fill up those form. Once na natapos mo yon, i-upload mo lahat sa GCK and wait. Of course, another separated video. Lahat ng step dito may separated video, step by step, so that I can guide you. O, yung time frame ko naman, after ko siya in-upload, 5 working days yung dumaan. Working days. Don't include weekends, okay? I am cleared. Inalaw na ako mag-biometrics and medical. Pero ako naman, dinownload ko lahat yon. And then, nag-set ako ng appointment online. If you want to also learn how to set an appointment online sa biometrics and medical, another separated video on my description. Ngayon, strategize. I strategize na dapat isang araw lang ako sa Manila that time, wherein morning, biometrics, mabilis lang talaga siya. Afternoon, medical. Nagastos ko for my biometrics is 3,500 pesos. Yung nagastos ko naman for my medical is 1,500 pesos that time. That is just a one-day transaction for me. Then, umuwi na agad ako. I waited 10 working days before ako naka-receive ulit ng message wherein cleared na ako sa lahat. Biometrics, medical, and everything. Then, all I needed to do is step 5 wherein I need to go to Manila for my visa stamping. Yun lang. Fill up ako ng form and nagbayad ako ng hindi ako sure kung 700 or 1,000. Let's say na lang 1,000 pesos for courier kasi ayoko bumalik sa Manila for the second time around para lang i-pick up. May options naman kasi doon. Either you want to pick up your visa or ipadala mo. Ngayon, pinadala ko siya worth 1K. Before siya dumating sa akin, since pinadala nga, umabot actually siya ng 5 working days. So, Monday ako nagpa-stamp, Friday dumating na siya. Then from that moment on, pwede ka na mag-move sa step 6, which is mag-book ka na ng flight papuntang Canada for your study permit. That is basically it. 6 easy steps for you to secure your study permit and to enter Canada. However, I will give a summary of all the documents na require sa akin. Yung number 1 is my proof of education. Of course, yung transcript of records and my diploma. Next is the proof of my identity. Kailangan mo dito ng birth certificate, ng passport, NBI clearance, police clearance. 3 is my proof of funds, wherein yung laman ng proof of funds ko is yung banking certificate, yung supporting letter ng sponsor ko here in Canada, and their taxes. For all my expenses, I will place them all here. So, yung unang gastos ko is my NBI, that is 150 pesos. Police clearance, that is 100 pesos. Followed by yung processing fee ko for my letter of acceptance is around 4,000 pesos or 100 CAD. Followed by my initial tuition fee, that is 101,600 pesos or 2,350 CAD. Followed by my banking certificate, it's 100 pesos. Yung biometrics ko is 3,500. Yung medical fee ko is 14,500. Yung courier ko sa visa stamping, it says 1,000 pesos with the total of tumataginting na 124,950. Ngayon, in reality, if i-deduct ko talaga yung initial tuition fee ko, kasi nakuha ko naman na yung letter of acceptance ko and I can actually now proceed, is around 23,350. Yung buong gastos ko sa whole process ko to be an international student here in Canada. Now, ipapakita ko na lang dito yung mga ginawa ko and how long did I wait and how long did I process it. Nasa iyo naman na kung how long will you willing to wait or do things kasi. Mabilis lang yung process. Honestly, if you reduce yung mga waiting time, mabilis lang, makukuha mo siya agad. Quick disclaimer. I think the reason kung bakit mabilis yung process ko sa paper is sinadya ko na first week of January ko siya gawin. The reason for this is that alam ko na that is the start of classes ng mga ibang students, and meaning konti lang ang nag-a-apply that time kasi nakita ko talaga konti ang pila for biometrics, konti ang pila for medical. If konti ang mga taong ipaprocess, mas mabilis yung process ng paper. Another, yung ginawa ko noong January, actually, plinan ko siya ng around 3 years. The reason that cheap yung nagastos ko compared sa iba is that yung mga papers ko before, recycle ko, let's say yung TOR ko, di ko naman na ulit ginastusan yan. Yung passport ko, di ko ulit ginastusan yan. Yung ginastusan ko lang talaga na iba is yung mga require at that moment. Let's say yung NBI and police clearance ko that time nung nag-apply ako way back ng work as a fresh grad before, hindi ko siya recycle kasi at least 6 months or 3 months old daw yung gamitin ko. Then, since nag-DIY ako, wala akong other fees na binayaran. Yung necessary lang talaga at that moment. Plus, regular stream pa. May extra pay kasi if mas mabilis pa yung process mo kapag yung ginamit mo is yung student direct stream. Pero ako, nung nag-apply ako, hindi ko yun pinili as a stream kasi nagtitipid po talaga ako. Yung isa pang reason siguro kung ba't mabilis ako mag-process is may sarili akong diskarte. I'm not saying na porke nagawa ko siya, magagawa mo rin. Actually, nag-align lang talaga. Hindi ko alam, pero yung buong mundo ko that time nag-align na walang typhoon, wala akong extra hours sa work. Talagang, time is perfect. Para yung sinasabi na, if you're nasa Bible, no, na parang if the time is right, everything around you will fall align in place. Walang nakasagabal sa mga plano ko whatsoever. That's why mabilis. Kasi some people may mga lakad talaga na biglang emergency na nasa-sacrifice yung time nila. Pero all talaga aligned in place for me. If you have anything to say, anything to add, mga gusto nyong malaman, you can always comment them down below and I will answer them in my next video. Thank you for your time. Bye! If you like contents like this, please follow me in my other social media platforms. Thank you so much!